Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Happy Spot. This is Jack Thomas, bringing it to you live from New York City. I travel around. It's what I've done for 30 years, about 40 years, being a business advisor, starting off in the automotive industry, and every day you had to find your happy spot. Now we are practicing with 7 different states in 5 weeks. How did it happen? It's just a network of people. So tonight we're going to be talking about the network of tools that I use, and hopefully everyone can find the same path for their own happiness. I'm going to start off by just giving a great thanks to Emily Schulman. She taught me a new concept the other day, and I'm going to Google this, right? And for my age group, right, I'm doing research. Let me write this one down. What was this? Body doubling, neurodivergent. All right. So, to all my guests of the future, of the past, this is what sums it up pretty much. Emily Schulman is 25 years old. I couldn't focus on something the other day. And she said, hey, let's just hop on our OneDrive, actually Google Drive, and the shared document. And within 10 minutes, she had me completely focused. And then she said, oh, that was just body doubling. So I'm going to read this out loud. Body doubling is a technique that involves working with another person to accomplish a task, right? Like I sound like I'm a genius, body doubling, neurodivergent. None of us are geniuses. We're all everyday people. That's who we represent coming out of New York City. And everyday people doesn't mean that it's not someone who is worth over $100 million or someone who is driving a bus. They're human beings. These are the people that we talk to every day, but they're living extraordinary lives. How do they go about doing it? Number one, listening. That's going to be part of the skill set that we're going to be talking about at the happy spot. And hopefully people can learn. So from the listening skill, what we were talking, having tools, YouTube, huge, everybody. We all know that, but our music, which we can listen on Spotify, but YouTube is going to give you the binaural beats. It's going to give you a different layer of sounds you can listen to. That's how I've been now using it at work. Thanks, Emily, for teaching me the concept of body doubling. And happy spot, it's as simple as that. I talk to people that are going to travel around the world. They're going to go here, go there. And listen, I live in New Jersey. I work in New York. People want to come visit us. Why can't we just be happy here? Now we all see the news, right? Reading the New York Post every day for 50 years. It reminds me, let's go back 50 years ago. And so that's what I like to try and do is kind of flip flop 45 years ago, 50 years ago, and go from point of time to time. So I'm just going to play the network, right? Because people are all in their business groups today, are all networking. And when I hear that word networking, as being a neurodivergent person, this is the part that I'm listening to, what I'm hearing about networking. And hopefully this will inspire people about biohacking into mental wellness. So let's take a listen to a movie. Hello, everybody coming back from mad as hell. Not going to take it anymore networking. When I'm listening to people all day, everybody, they're mad as hell. That's from 50 years ago, 1976. Listening to that movie, that newscaster could be today's story. It's all so similar. Nothing's changed. Well, we can change. And that's what the happy spot is about. We do it one person at a time. We do it one radio show at a time. We're going to provide you the tools. Tools number one, you can go right out to LinkedIn, go to the happy spot. The remedy is there, and we'll talk about what the remedy is. We want to give it away for free. For free. Now, keep in mind, this is New York City, and we are a capitalist society, and we do like to make money. How we make money? You can sign up, join the happy spot. What do you get? You get your own therapist. How much? $89 a month. How do we do it? We make sure you live a well life. Pretty simple. What do we do? Provide you the tools and the network. Who are we? We're people that live and breathe right next door to you, and we're all thinking the same thing, just no one knows how to say it. My job and my purpose in life, I am a vessel. I just listen to other people and allow that information to pass along. So who's going to hop in? Who's going to jump in? Think about it. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that will be active using their tools on active listening. We'll be exchanging this with our employees. That's going to be the next topic I'm going to roll into today. So there's this concept, and again, I'm using a 50-year window, point to point. So as I pose the question, networking 50 years ago, the news, the world is miserable. What can you do to be happy? You're one person. We're going to provide you the tools. The next step, who can help? Employers, employees, or here's the new word, entrepreneur. Somebody called me an entrepreneur the other day. I took it as an insult. Coming from where I came from in New York, we didn't even know what the word, we can't spell the word entrepreneur. We just hustle doing business. We just look to do good. But tax rules changed. I'm not going to get into the whole tax rules, but there are tax benefits for the corporations that call us up. But here we are, 2024. People are mad as hell. How about let's use happiness? We tried using fighting through in the 40s. We see Ivan Boesky just passed away. There's a generation of Wall Street that is passing away where money was made, and the new generation, 24, 25, my kids' friends, the fentanyl crisis, and they're teaching us, hey, what can you teach us? Come to the happy spot, get your own therapist, no problem. We're just looking to do good. We're going to talk about some examples this week that the happy spot's been involved with. Queens, New York, there's a place, Alley Pond Sanctuary. They sponsored a wellness visit. We'll get into that in a little bit. I know I seem as though it's on a little bit of a random, but to me, that's how a neurodivergent person works. It's all in their mind going at one time. How can you receive the information? You want to be happy, just do it in where you're sitting. How do you get there? There's tools, sound, jump on the happy spot. We're going to have different speakers biohacking. Last week, we had Dr. Krieger. There's going to be a machine that can measure your cells, right down to your cell of your body. Years ago, we didn't even know what a cell looked like. We didn't have microscopes 40 years ago that you could really look. Now today, they could watch everything you're doing from uh, from Mars, coming right down and seeing where you're at. Networking. I listened to that show. It's that movie. It's really amazing listening to it. The one thing that I find interesting that was different is the word steel belted radials. And for those of you that know me, I come from the automotive world and I laugh. Steel belted radials. Back then, you used to get 50,000 miles on a tire. Now, today, if you get 25,000, you're lucky. And that's because the tires work better, perform faster. But are you getting happiness from it? Some people do, some people don't. But we all want to look for our happy spot. How to go about doing it? Just breathing, exchanging the ideas with people. The happy spot, we're in 7 states. We're priding ourselves on that right now. How did we do it? We connected with other businesses. We were fortunate we had Jan Lucanis on. We're going to be following back with him. He's traveling around the world raising funds. We had Frank and Ryan Marr, the dental business, biohacking, looking at things with a different vantage point. How can you take advantage of it? If you want, you can reach out to the It's nyc.radio at the happy spot. You can email us, and if you have ideas that you think will be relevant that should be out here that we should be sharing. We had Dr. Dona, fantastic doctor in New Jersey, been practicing family medicine for years, helping us get on here and supporting the wellness movement. So it's people, it's a philosophy, and it starts with you. I'm going to be moving to break in a moment, so I'm just going to plant the seed. What is driving all of the employees miserable? Why is absenteeism on the rise? Why are doctors stressed out? And for employers, who's measuring the money? They're doing it in Europe. We in America started the happiness movement. They're doing it in Europe, and we're going to be bringing those opportunities here into the United States. I'm going to move to a break right now, but please note the 40 megahertz are the sound behind there, using that for focus and just sharing with some of our scenarios that go on. Be back in a moment. Thank you.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on TalkRadio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on TalkRadio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on TalkRadio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on TalkRadio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining and coming back. This is the Happy Spot with Jack Thomas. We biohack. Someone asked me the other day, what is biohacking? I said, think of the biological changes. When I'm 57, when I was a kid, you didn't feel well, you went to the doctor. Today, you don't feel well, you go to an urgent care center, and they send you to 5 doctors. The world has changed so much. But yet still, if we can make it simple, that's why we have the Happy Spot. We focus on the mind and the well-being of people. It's the number one thing going on in society. Businesses in New York, employers, large corporations, they get it. They get it. I've worked around them, and I won't name names of large corporations, but putting in mental wellness programs. Small businesses, they're always going to do the best they can, but very family-oriented. But it's this middle segment market of business that has changed our society over and over. The automotive industry is very well known. Henry Ford creating the assembly line, Toyota and Honda making cars more efficient in the 70s. Today, it will happen again. It will be the automotive industry changing the world with the electric cars. We as human beings, our minds are going to have to change. Internationally, Europe gets it. I was fortunate. I met a group last year. I want to say hello to Madeleine and Pedro, the Happy Game. And we play the Happy Game every week. We'll get back to that in a moment. But trying to plant that in the mindset. Because 50 years ago at networking, we were screaming, I'm mad as hell. And today our generation is telling us, our generation, our kids that are 25, 35 are saying, hey, you old people that are running the show, let's try doing it differently. So here's an idea for everybody. I'm just going to kind of throw out there and see if we could hop on this. No, I don't want that. Always annoying when technology doesn't want to go your way. It's always fun. I'm going to just try and pause here for a second. Get my, come back here. Right, we will pause off of the screen and not jump around. Excuse me for that. The concept I was trying to bring into play here in Europe, they get it. There is an international recognized psychology, uh, and I'm drawing a blank on how to pronounce it, but there's an issue, and OSHA knows about it, and they're providing some rules for some of the employers that can handle this. So employers, there are rules that are out there. Employees, since you're never told anything, you could join the happy spot. We'll tell you. We'll tell you what your mental wellness benefits are. If you don't have mental wellness benefits, we'll help you get signed up. We also have a group in Queens, the Alley Pond Sanctuary, that they don't, they're out of New York, but they're part of the global wellness. And that's what this is about, is focusing local. They heard about a young girl trying to commit suicide, 14 years old, Bergen County, upscale neighborhood. It's hitting all of us. It doesn't matter whether you have money, you don't have money. The anxiety is there. There are different ways to go about it. We have school systems that are looking for help. We have kids looking for help. So Ali Pond Sanctuary, they were kind enough. They paid for yoga sessions for the daughter to go. They're having breathing sessions at Village Yoga in Glen Rock, New Jersey. Julie, the manager, did a great job in coordinating with Ali Pond so that they could pay for the classes and not naming the young lady, just giving some courtesy and privacy. But it takes a community. That's what we're doing it worldwide. When I say worldwide, we're just in New York and New Jersey. We're in 7 states. We have our relationships with the Octopus Movement. We have our relationships with other businesses. And they're saying, hey, we want to get into the States. We want to bring our happy products in. How do we go about doing it? We network. We're implementers, so the people that are coming to us are already having success. We're not looking for daydreams. We're not looking for, yeah, we believe it'll happen. What does that mean? This past year at the Happy Spot, we're involved with another company called Smitty McJangers. They had negotiated insurance discounts approaching insurance companies. If the company brings on a chief happiness officer, will you discount the premium? Each state does it differently, and the answer is yes. So on a corporate level, it has already been proven. If you bring a chief happiness officer into your corporate structure, you could have them as a part-time person. They will give you a discount on your insurance premium. How do we know? We've done it 3 times already. Question is, do you qualify? So that's Smitty McJangers. You'd have to go speak to them. I'm affiliated with them, so I could connect you, and they'll help arrange for that. Let's go back to this networking. So what does the network look like? So for us, the network looks like one person at a time. We're now in 7 states. So in those 7 states, we're really hoping over the next 5 months that we'll be in 21 states and growing. What do? We bring happiness to employers, employees, and now our new word to share with everybody, an entrepreneur. I started off earlier saying, where I come from out of New York, an entrepreneur, it's almost insulting to call us. We're all entrepreneurs. Every day, somebody in New York is looking to make a buck or a hustle, and I don't mean it in a negative light. It's just, the way it is. But the word entrepreneur I found very interesting, and I was introduced to this from a woman, Yvonne Dom. I've been utilizing her as a corporate coach for the past year and a half. Highly recommend her services. She's in Barcelona, Spain. But she said to me one day, you focus so local. Have you read this book? And it's about being local, but yet on a global scale. So Yvonne gets it because she's worked in that corporate environment, and we're going to have her come and speak in July in New York City. So if any interest in actually getting to meet this woman that is the entrepreneur of entrepreneurs, the book talks about an entrepreneur and that's being international. And because of technology today, we can do this. We can exchange, we could grow, we can share, we could build and be happy. Now, sometimes an employer at work, I don't care whether my employees are happy. This is a conversation I have. And I don't get into whether they should care or not. We just know that the numbers prove that if you take care of the culture and part of that is being happy, we know that here are the tools that will work. It's that simple sometimes. People are like, I got to put in this whole grand scheme. Be nice. Now, the problem is sometimes people don't know how to be nice. And then when you come out of New York, you have all different cultures. You have 170 different countries coming in. You have the United Nations. So how do you learn to be nice? It begins like here at the Happy Spot. We teach etiquette and discipline. We're focused on three different groups. Group number one are happy ambassadors. They're age 24 to 39. They're growing in the world of the business world, and they're struggling trying to communicate with people that are 10 years older. We help facilitate those conversations. That's part of that mental wellness. We also target and work with family offices. Family offices are the privately held companies. We have companies, $100 million corporations, and they're just not in alignment with everything in the news. They'll say, Larry, I know you read the New York Post, but I read a different paper. I don't agree with you. But yet we can have those conversations without having it public and having it out in a fight. We're not going out on Facebook or on these other channels. We're a network. Part of our network also is an organization called the Guild in New York City that targets the automotive industry. And we have different people that are working and representing the National Auto Dealer Association. The Guild is an automotive industry focused on transportation and looking at carbon credits. Why all this information? Well, part of this, Emily, I know, is ultimately going to be cutting up different pieces of this, and we're using this as branding and getting out into the marketplace. We're fortunate that New York City Radio gets it on the idea of we need to have alternative voices out there. And TalkRadio.nyc, you can not only hear my voice, but you can hear Sam Leibowitz that has been doing this for a very long time. And we're just fortunate that we can have the freedom of communication as we see people around the world don't always have that full freedom of communication and the free forming of it. The Happy Spot, the main focus is being a large corporation targeting targeting large corporations that want to bring wellness into their employees. These we're going to look at $100 million corporations. We're looking at tax benefits, tax savings. So when they implement and they use our program, there's not an additional fee built into it. If anything, our goal is to help you increase your attendance while not increasing your costs. How do we do it? We work with your insurance carriers that are already existing in place. We work with your tax financial professionals. Our job is to help the company grow. How do we use it? Technology, tools, simple stuff. We're talking YouTube, we're talking LinkedIn. We don't have to over invent anything. Now it's a matter of managing the time. That's going to be the second portion of the show. It's going to be what I'm going to call is a book called Time Wars. There'll be simple books. Right now, we're on the topic of entrepreneur and the what is that? The Global Class is the name of the book. It's a worldwide book that for if you're a business today, it allows you to focus local, but you could dream the dreams. And that's part of where society, in my opinion, has gone wrong, where we tell every kid, live your dream, go do your dream, go live your dream, but they're not really given all the tools. And that's kind of hard, especially to be an entrepreneur. Now we have entrepreneur teaching in school, but the schools themselves, I'm not going to go down the road whether I'm pro or con what is going on. But we all know that if you're going to come out into business, who's going to be your guide, your leader, your priest, your rabbi, your guru? And that's what we do at the Happy Spot. I like to share with people I'm the guru of happiness. I had the good fortune of Dr. Mark Lund and his partner Liz bringing them into the United States. Hey, Dr. Mark, nice always seeing you. Dr. Donna is out doing her thing and bringing happiness. And Dr. Donna is just a great example because she has an 11-year-old daughter, Scotland. I got to go see Scotland at a kidpreneur out in Morristown at a school that she's at. And that's where the success begins. Now we have to do this consistently. So we need large corporations involved. We need it getting down to the employees. The states already in New York and New Jersey are providing these laws. Nobody knows about them. Even the employers are afraid of them. Our job is to educate on mental wellness, let you know that the states are providing the dollars for it. Why not take advantage of it? If you join us, it's $89 a month. This information is what we provide. But if you can't afford the $89 a month, you can head it right out to LinkedIn at the Happy Spot. You just go see Jack Thomas. The remedy is listed right there. Dr. Dona, she put that together. That's a formula that's in lieu of taking a medicine. What does that mean? Most people, when they have anxiety or they're stressed out, they go to the doctor. Happened to me 25 years ago. First thing the doctor did, write a prescription. Fortunately for me, because I have an addictive nature, I had friends of mine that coached me off of the prescription. I'm not here to tell people whether they should take prescriptions or not. I'm just saying there's an alternative. Dr. Donat provided the remedy. And the trick to the remedy is having somebody that is a doctor that you're working with. We're not here to give medical information, never our job, but we're getting the medical community to wake up and say there are alternative ways to approach it. Again, what makes this Talk Radio NYC, we are the leaders around the world when it comes to health. I'll touch upon that in the near future. We're going to get into the time, but the goal today is to remind everybody the tools. So the tools to wellness. Go to YouTube. You could Google the Happy Spot Jack Thomas, and other scenarios will come up. You could use the YouTube, Spotify for your own sound waves. We're going to be writing some of these things up, but in the meanwhile, out on the Happy Spot, you can go right out to Jack Thomas. If I'm repeating myself, I'm doing it on purpose because sometimes it's the repetition of what people hear, and sometimes it's that simple. Today at the Happy Spot, we're not reinventing the wheel. We do represent insurance companies. We do represent a variety of different companies, but it starts off with, hey, how do we get happy? How do we go about doing it? How do we figure this out for our employees? And the rule is other companies are already doing it. Now, how do you implement it? And that's what I do. I come in and I implement it. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. The United States has been working on this for a dozen years. There are a bunch of companies out there, but no one's getting there yet. So we're going to break off into a break right now, and we'll be back in a moment, and we'll pick up on Time Wars. Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on TalkRadio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on TalkRadio.nyc.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on TalkRadio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on TalkRadio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Jack Thomas at the Happy Spot. Sitting in New York City today, taking in the beauty of it. The topic of this segment is time. So in my mind, I could roll back in time when I started working with my dad as a kid. And then there was the neighbor, and you always had a chance to hear what they had to say. Nowadays, seems like neighbors don't want to talk as much. Everyone's so busy they don't have the time. But when they originally came out with computers, the whole goal of the computer was save more time to have more things to do. So 1984, Dr. Splain was in college. Only book I saved from college. I wasn't a great student. Time Wars. And it was talking about in 1984, as computers were just coming into the business world, and it was going to speed up the movement of business and time. Well, human nature, we just are naturally competitive. And it's been proven with all the new technology that our survival skill set is always to try and win. And so against the computer, we were never able to train the discipline of how to use our time with the computer. And now everyone talks about life balance. Who knows what life balance is unless you have the discipline to have the etiquette to use the time? And so, for example, I now have to have two phones because I have two different businesses, and the two different businesses like different software. So where things were supposed to be easier, now it's time. Time and technology. Now watch as I shift this. It's also time with generational discussions. So at 57, our generational time was built off of a clock, an around circle, which is how people measure time. My kids at 25, their measurement of time is the same thing off the phone right there. And we're all no different than our kids. It's the phone is now our timekeeper, and that timekeeper is constantly going. So what do we do at the happy spot? We practice different disciplines on how just to breathe, to contain our time. It has been proven if you take 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon to settle in your mind, it will help you in other areas of trying to settle yourself in. I sat with a gentleman the other day, top sales guy in the in selling a product, doesn't matter, and but an important product. And he's, how do you stay so calm at work? I said, just breathing. Do this for 10 minutes. I can't do that. I said, just try. 3 days later, checked with him. It's not enough of his pain. And that's part of the problem in our society is we wait until we have all this pain and the pain is so great. And then we go to the doctor and then you get the prescription. So how do you be proactive? You have to have employers that are yogi-like thinkers. What is yogi-like? Um, yogi-like is people that want to do well for others. Doesn't mean yoga. So martial artist. I think Bruce Lee was one of the greatest people wanting to try and do well for the world in fighting. Uh, could have been yoga like. Now, some people say he was a fighter, he was a warrior. But if you listen to yogi people, and I do both in studying martial arts and yoga, and you hear the word warrior, the conflict. Which are you a warrior fighter or are you a warrior in yoga and breathing? How about just be a warrior and be nice? That's sometimes the hardest thing to do. You know, it was amazing. People always say, oh, from New York, you're not so nice, you're not so nice. But when 9/11 happened, we were the nicest people in the world, and everybody in the world wanted to come together because it was so tragic. Well, hopefully the whole world can see we're all tragic right now. I don't care where you are in the world. It is a mental catastrophe. We're not the only ones saying and seeing it, but we're going to be the ones helping to implement it. We're fortunate we have an RX benefit. It is not health insurance related. All of our employees get a mental wellness. They get access to their own therapy. They get access to a health advocate. What does a health advocate look like? Like I said earlier, I was a kid growing up. I had one doctor I went to, and whatever he said, you did. Now today, you go to urgent care center. They send you to 5 doctors. Who knows if they're right or wrong? Everyone just follows the rules. Well, we're going to give you access to a health advocate, and you could go have your own information figured out because no one knows. And the key part we suggest to people is have that mental wellness put into place and have that checked in. So, from a time perspective, how do you change your mind on time? Well, step one is saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to have my phone in the bedroom at night. As silly as it sounds, I'm no better. I'm still reading the newspaper at night. Trying to take that phone and not having it near you and just do it for 3 days. Just try and do it for yourself. And that's where we're going to plan on changing the world and making our suggestions. It starts with you, one step at a time, 10 minutes of just breathing, taking that technology of that phone, using some of the binaural beats, joining the happy ambassadors, being a young professional, understanding the etiquette, and then having a place where it's safe, where you can ask your questions. I met a young group of people today in yoga class going, "Oh my God, why don't I know about this?" It's because, it's the world that's just coming together. It seems as though the timing is just right where the world is at that breaking point. Europe has been doing this for a long time. America's been doing a lot of different things, but let's now implement it. Let's get the mental wellness right. Because if we get that right, we'll get everything else to fall in place. It's in the mind. We also have all these new ways and tools that are out there between the YouTube, LinkedIn. It's the tools. And it's our job as generational leaders. If you're CEO of corporation, you're CFO, it's your job. Right, just like that. Your job. And your job's not just to make the money, and everyone knows that. But now, what can we do for our employees? Now, your entrepreneurs are you're a separate game, right? You should be looking at all of these opportunities of, hey, as an entrepreneur, what else can I do to make money? I saw there was a company over in Portugal last year. They have a great team building academy going on. So why are we not seeing more of that going on? Maybe it is. But having entrepreneurs talking with other entrepreneurs to exchange their ideas on mental wellness and with a focus. It's standard for coming out of New York. Um, the doctors, it seems that's how they work. And that's what I'm going to get into on our next segment and how we can co-share information and how I grew up seeing that with in different medical communities and talking with different doctors on your wellness, your physical wellness and your mental wellness. From time, what are other areas with time that you can look at? I learned a great one from a great coach, Kevin Schulman, 30 years, been teaching coaching. Call it the 20-minute contract. If you know you got to do something at work, you don't want to do it, but make the 20-minute contract with yourself and say, I'm just going to spend 20 minutes to do this one thing I really don't like. You're done. Right? Sometimes we could spend 2 hours in our mind saying, "Oh, if I did this, but I have to do this now and justify that." So it's the mind. How do we learn to contain our mind? We talk about breathing, 20-minute contract, using that 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Some of this stuff seems so basic and basic. Well, good people, right? Right. This is the good things that are going on. Now, how does the state come into play? We have to look at not just businesses, but the states. The states, if I take New York State Department of Labor, they've made it a new rule that you have to give 20-minute breaks after a certain period of time. Why 20 minutes? Why not 15? I don't know. I don't know the rules to the answer, but let's say, hey, if the employers are saying you have to give 20-minute breaks, why can't we have a break room someplace where they used to have break rooms where someone could have a Zen room, 20 minutes of Zen to themselves? Maybe we could find some wellness in those communities and find some performance going on with the business aspect of it. It's about the time because in the business, we want to do it faster and quicker. But I'm also learning through the younger generation, sometimes if we could just stop, take a breath, breathe, talk about a couple of these things in exchanging with that generation because they see technology different than us, right? It's the body doubling, right? I've just learned neurodivergent. The body doubling is when I'm working with a tool online with somebody else, easier to focus and easier to exchange that information versus where you have a lot of people at work that are just mentally frustrated. I told them how to do it, but they didn't listen to me. Well, you told them, but maybe you both had to connect a little better. It was they were trying to listen, but they may not have heard you. And so it's a communication gap that goes on in those scenarios. And as leaders, it's our responsibility to make sure that we're getting it. And at the same time, giving the generation that's younger than us permission to speak up. I've had that good fortune again with Emily this past week, in empowering her to speak up and really handling things. And it's just so great to see how that happens. We're now going to be bringing on a new intern, a woman named Sarah. I didn't get Sarah's last name, but she's going to get connected with Emily. Emily was heading up the benefits program because the time that it took for me to do all the different things, I need to have an employee, right? I need to have a contracted individual like an Emily, because Emily reminds me she's not an employee, right? She's 1099, she has her own business. And sometimes we get caught up in how we see things, but want to make sure that we're seeing it together as a team. I spent a lot of time with Emily because she's just been a great new addition in my professional life, which is allowing us in the 7 states. So that'll be the topic we're going to roll into. What are we doing in those 7 states? What does that look like for our employees? Our employees are all somehow connected with us in a variety of ways. And we'll be back in just a moment. Thanks, everyone. Jack Thomas at the Happy Spot.
Are you a high achieving, growth oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on TalkRadio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on TalkRadio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on TalkRadio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on TalkRadio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on TalkRadio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Thank you, everybody, for coming back. I lost my Zoom screen. There we are. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, everybody, for coming back. All right, so we're talking about the Happy Spot. We target 3 different types of groups: happy ambassadors, family offices, large corporations that want to make a difference in the world. How do we do it? Simple: happiness. We give people a safe space to talk about it. Okay, woo, 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 all sounds great. We've already negotiated with insurance companies to help businesses get discounts by bringing in new changes. The businesses were bringing in the new changes. They didn't know they can get discounts. The insurance companies know that it's an issue out there. Sooner or later, they're going to catch up. What I want to do is take a moment and just share this little bit of a blurb that I picked up from one of our other shows. I think it's just so informative about what is going on internationally. I'm going to come back and touch upon the bullying. I'm not sure how we can go about fixing the bullying. It's something that goes on, but what we can do is, in the happiness was the young lady that was being bullied in her school, the neurodivergent, who tried committing suicide. We arranged for her in a comfort zone, young teenage gal, to come with her mom to a yoga studio because that was what she wanted to do. So we're just everyday people doing local things, but targeting businesses. What makes it different? It's the RX package. Everybody gets a mental wellness. So when you join a company, everybody always gets their package. Wellness, mental wellness may or may not be in there. Every one of our people get it, and the companies that we work with get it, and we educate families on getting it. And if you're a happy ambassador and you're at a large company and you don't want anyone to know about your mental wellness, that's why you come to people like us. Come to people like us in New York. We give you a safe space. We allow you to be you. These are all the new concepts. As a friend of mine, Scott Barna, taught me the word unbelievable. Maybe one day I will uh, have the blessing of having Scott come speak on our podcast. He can really turn the whole world upside down in the most positive of ways. But that's what it takes. It takes a network of people. It takes a network of people within business. And then it's these information pieces, which I'm going to dial back on too. I think this is such just a great informative piece. It's a 10-minute piece. Everybody can also pick up on it out on the internet. That little 10-minute segment is so packed full of information. So the moment I hear the word international, it comes into the entrepreneur. That's what we do. We like to talk with the entrepreneurs. Our top entrepreneur, Yvonne Dom. She'll be coming here into New York City in July. We're going to have a speaking engagement. She's going to be here for 3 days, installing a training program for our CEOs. We're going to just be part of the happiness behind the scenes, but this is an Yvonne Dom presentation. This woman, I've seen her speak before. She's unbelievable. To be in her presence, her wisdom of 20 years, you could just go out and look at um, just amazing. Look at Yvonne Dam on LinkedIn and coming in on the psychological aspect of how do we go about it. And you listen to these YouTube channels that just make it all so simple. But when you get into that workplace, I've been involved in representing employers and employees on insurance claims. When the employee said this, the employee said that. I filled this form, I filled that form, this form, that form, and then no one's really happy. So having a third party person like ourselves, we're not attorneys. We are brought in to guide and coach managers and leadership, and being that third party when that mental issue comes up. I'll give you, for instance, we're involved in a case right now, large automotive business. Somebody was run over and killed. So what happens when they kill the insurance company? All hands go up. They want nothing to do with you because they got to figure out what's going to go on, who's going to sue who. With a third party, we come in with the employees and everybody that is a manager and a leader. Right now, we're having sit down conversations. They all get their own therapist. It's done quietly. It's done quickly. It's done well. How do you get it out there? We're in 7 states. We just keep talking about it. People keep hearing about it. People keep saying, how do you do it? It's because we are biohacking already existing pieces. A gentleman, Matt Manarick, Matt, I'm sorry, I hope I pronounced your last name. 2018, he was a retiring doctor. He saw the teledoc tools and merged them together and created a program. He's also fortunate. Jeff Max, 25 years in the business. So the level of professionals are people that are like you. They're everyday people looking at that technology piece that was done 20 years ago. How do we hack them, pull them together, and make it affordable for people? That's what you get at the happy spot. Looking at creativity. One of the nice parts coming out of New York, the state of New York provides mental wellness benefits for all employees through state programs, but people don't know about it. At the happy spot, we'll guide, coach, point, and answer the questions. Sometimes people are just afraid to ask HR because, that mental wellness question for some companies, if you're in private information in high level corporations, you're still an everyday person living an extraordinary life and afraid to ask. We are old school New York. You come in, it's like having a neighbor. We just talk about the ideas. There's no uh, indemnity agreement. You're just coming in and speaking with us. It was interesting when I ask people this question, and I look at the history of OSHA and how it came into effect, and then 9/11. And so I ask people, there's 3 types of 9/11 I think of. 9/11 Porsche, nothing faster. 9/11, what a tragic loss. And then 9/11, our safety. And where did that safety come from? Came from a bad thing that happened in New York. I'm drawing a blank on the woman who was murdered, but there were 38 people that heard this woman that was killed, but 911 didn't exist, but they didn't know where to go or how to help. So now today, fast forward 50 years later, people are committing suicide and we have 988. So these are very reactive things, but due to the time and the speed of technology, they're good to have them as reactive. But as employers, we need to implement this. We need to be proactive. If you already have tools, hey, that's great. You don't need to borrow our tools, then implement them. We are seeing our success of taking tools and just the conversation. It's not that we're magical. It's that we're passionate. It's that we get it. It's that we're large. We know it's important. This is Jack Thomas at the Happy Spot. We're asking our people, right? Who can come out? Who can come out and be with us? So thank you.